3D printing while driving. Sounds crazy, right? What if I told you it's not only possible, but it can give you results that are virtually indistinguishable from printing on a stationary 3D printer? That's what I discovered a few months ago when I 3D printed on this Bambu Lab X1 Carbon in the back of our van while we were driving down the highway. The print turned out fantastic, but that was a really smooth road. And it kind of begs the question, what happens if you 3D print in the back of a van while you're driving down some of the bumpiest roads in the world, like you find here in Baja California, Mexico? How bad does a road have to be before it starts negatively impacting the print? Or better yet, how bad does it have to be before the print actually fails? Well, I think here in Mexico is the perfect place to put mobile 3D printing to the test. Now, to truly test 3D printing while driving, we need some sort of benchmark. And what better benchmark than the Benchy? For those of you who don't know, this is a standard 3D printer calibration test. It has pretty much every level of detail that you'd want to test a 3D printer. It has fine detail, overhangs, this little smokestack at the top. This model should tell us pretty much everything we need to know about how driving affects 3D printing. I found a Benchy online that prints in just 20 minutes on the Bambu Lab X1 Carbon. That should be a good duration for pretty much any road condition. But first things first, we need to print one of these while stationary to get a baseline. And we are off. This 20-minute Benchy is crazy fast. You can see just how quickly the print head is moving around. I don't normally print this fast because it definitely has an impact on print quality, especially since this thing has been living in a moving van for the past 3 months, which I'm sure has knocked out some tolerances and messed with the calibration a bit, but we'll see. I mean, I've been printing on this a fair bit in the van, been getting some pretty solid prints. In case you're curious, the printer uses it varies between 60 and 100 watts while printing, depending on whether or not the extruder is being heated at that moment. We're currently getting between 70 and 120 watts of solar input out of our total capacity on the roof of 400 watts. Since it's winter in the Northern Hemisphere and it's about 9 a.m. right now, we are not at our full solar capacity, but pretty sweet that the printer is taking less electricity than we're generating from the sun. So as long as we print during the day, when we have a nice sunny day, we'll still get a net input of electricity. I don't know, maybe I should be printing this fast because the quality of that Benchy is looking very good. Getting the fine detail on those doors. Now we're approaching the overhang, which is typically where the quality on this printer starts to suffer the most. Those holes in the bow are looking nice and clean. About to print the bridge. A little bit of messiness there, but still pretty solid. It was able to print the bridge, and especially that circular hole on the back is looking nice and clean. All right, there it is, the finished Benchy. The white filament is sort of hiding some of the worst defects. You can see not a perfectly smooth hole there. We have a bit of a seam, little bit of globbing on the overhang right there. Nice clean smokestack. The bottom's a little ugly. Anyways, there's our benchmark. A pretty solid Benchy printed in 20 minutes. Now that we got our baseline, we're ready for our first official test. We're gonna start things off simple with some highway printing, and I've actually started the print already. That's because you can't actually start a 3D print on the X1 Carbon with all the vibrations while driving. That's because this thing uses vibrations to calibrate the printer before each print. While you're driving, all the extra vibrations just cause this thing to fail the calibration essentially. So you can hear now it's doing the sweeping XY mech mode. I think that's when it just vibrates through a series of frequencies to find the resonant frequency of the printer. Once that is done and it's laid down the first layer, we'll start down this Baja California highway and see what happens. The animals are waiting so patiently. Look at that good girl. Spam the comments with good girls. All right, print is going. Let's start driving. These highways in Baja California Sur are very good. I think this is pretty much the best driving conditions you could ask for 3D printing while driving. We're getting a little bit of vibration, as much as you would while driving a big van like this on the road, but honestly though, the X1 Carbon vibrates so much, especially when it's printing really fast like it is on this 20-minute benchy. So I don't really know how much of an impact smooth highway driving like this is gonna make on the print quality.
When you say really good highway, you mean if you don't care about a shoulder or random potholes or random speed bumps?
Yeah, there's little wild cards here and there. A little bit of bumpiness just as the road changes condition, but the print so far is looking quite good. It's actually very hard to tell as it's really difficult to keep the camera still as we're driving. Oh yeah, here are those Baja California speed bumps. Cannot see any difference between this quality and the stationary print so far. What do you think, Abby? That is a lovely highway by any standards. This is what our van looks like while we drive. We have a simple strap to hold the drawers closed, which actually works quite well. I was a little insecure about it at first, and I did ask the comments for a more elegant solution, but it's so fast to set up that I don't see myself changing it anytime soon. And you can see we have a bit of vibration. Plants are wiggling around a bit. The upper cabinets have opened up a bit. We really need some latches for these guys. These are just, gravity is holding them up, so when we go over extremely bumpy roads, things do tend to fall out. But, you know, you just don't keep anything super breakable up there.
We're literally on probably one of the straightest stretches of highway that we've been on this entire trip. This highway does get very curvy after this incline.
Honestly, I can't really think of a way that curves in the road would impact the print. Like, if you have some centrifugal force pushing things to the side, I mean, I guess if it was really strong, then it could sort of like move the axes. I feel like you would need such a strong force. I mean, the X1 Carbon, like, there's a lot of rigid parts. You have 3 threaded rods for the X-axis. It's core XY, so it's, you know, it's a rigid body and it's only the extruder that's moving. The bed is only moving up and down. And they're not a sponsor, so I'm not just saying this. It's kind of the perfect printer to have in a van if you are gonna have one.
Yeah, if you happen to be building a van and you do 3D printing.
There are dozens of us. Dozens!
This Venn diagram is small but mighty.
Bit of a bump there, but the print seems to be doing quite well. It got past the overhangs, no problem. Road's getting a little bumpy for the finale of the print, and we are on to the roof of the benchy, coming up on the smokestack. I'm so curious to see if we can get the smokestack to print incorrectly. Because it's so thin, I'm very curious if like big bumps or big twists in the road will cause it to become all wavy. But I don't think we're gonna find this out on this test. We might need to wait for a rougher road. What do you think, Abby?
Abby's like, I like it when I get to be a free dog all day at the beach.
Yeah, Abby does not love driving days. Penny does not care. I think she sleeps better. All right, finale of the smokestack.
Okay, you're about to hit some speed bumps.
We'll see if those do anything to the very top of the smokestack. All right, that's it. First test done. This is how I land the drone while we're driving. Oh, it's a wily one today. Come on. Got it. Here is our benchmark, the benchy printed on the stationary printer, and here is the one we printed while driving down the highway. Now, at first glance, there are no big quality differences, but let's take a closer look. Looking at the hulls, pretty identical in quality. Smokestacks look pretty much identical. If anything, the top of this porthole on the stationary benchy might have printed worse than that on the highway, which is very interesting. You can see here, this bridge on the highway benchy might be a little worse than the bridge on the stationary benchy. This one has a bit of a dip and this one's a little more straight across, but again, that is really nitpicking. If we shine a flashlight across the layers, we should be able to pick up some more quality differences. Yeah, again, in some ways, the highway benchy on the hull, it almost looks smoother than the benchmark. So 3D printing while driving down the highway doesn't seem to have any noticeable effects on print quality. But what happens if we drive on a bumpier road? We're currently parked at Cabo Pulmo, a beautiful beach and national park right near the tip of Baja California. And it was about a 15-20 minute drive on a pretty bumpy sand and dirt road to get here. So it's the perfect setting for our second experimental test, as long as we don't get stuck in the sand. Let's do it.
Oh, God, freaking.
Crushing it, you're doing great.
Gotten stuck twice and both times it's been my fault, so.
All right, we are on to the Washboard road now.
Got 13 kilometers of washboard. Oh, I hate hills. Okay.
Yeah, just make sure you get nice speed up that hill. Very bumpy on the washboard though. Oh boy. There you go. Good job, Eden. Woo! Nice, you are doing great.
Oh, look at this little VW bug.
Oh, cool. Look at this guy.
You got it, dude.
There's so many cool little van conversions like that out there, and then four-wheel drives, which are much better equipped for these roads than we are. Oh wow, this is quite a hill coming up. You got it. You're doing great. All right, while we're paused for a second at the top of this hill, let's do a quick check on how the print is doing. Print is still going. Oh, Eden, geez.
I'm just gonna move forward a little bit.
Okay, all right. I think I'm gonna hang out up here for this drive because it's a little dangerous to be in the back of the van during all this craziness.
Check
You're doing
anxiety.
great. This is great confidence building for you. This is probably like the worst road Eden has driven on so far.
You know, it wasn't a good omen when we were coming in.
What?
There was all these like cars stopped, and then we see like someone was changing a tire.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like cool.
Screw omens. We follow science and logic in this van.
Science, not anxiety.
Oh boy, yeah, go nice and slow on this. We don't need to go crazy. This is bumpy. We don't need to make it even bumpier. I think we're safe enough here that I'm gonna go back in the van, see how the print is doing. Looking good so far. I don't see any discernible differences between this and the last one yet. Oh boy. Printer is crushing it though. This is really good. Now let's get into the finer detail, and the road is still really bumpy. So I'm really curious how that's going to affect like the overhangs and the smokestack. Abby's just hiding her head behind the towel. It's okay, puppy. You're okay.
Honestly, Abby, me too.
This is truly a torture test for the X1 Carbon. You can see how much the filament in the AMS is just shaking back and forth. Roads like this, things start to fall out of the upper cabinets. Oh my gosh! All right, we are coming up on the overhang. Now, one thing that I think might happen is these thin pillars that go before the overhang. If we're encountering a lot of vibration and those pillars are wiggling around, that I think could make for an error or, you know, a less than perfect result in the print. You can't really see it with the shaking camera, but the front of the hull is looking a little messier than our baseline test. All right, very bumpy road for the smokestack, which is just about to start printing. With such a tall, thin structure, I'm curious if you can see any effects in the smokestack when there's lots of bumps in the road. Oh boy, this is great. This is like nice, constant bumps. Honestly, a pretty great experimental setup. All right, and the print is done. Nice job, driver. Give me that again. All right, stationary benchy and the one we printed while driving on a pretty rough dirt road. And right away, I'm starting to see some quality differences. If you look at the hull, and it might show up best if we shine a flashlight across it, you can see on the dirt road benchy, there's a bit of roughness. That's the one on the right versus the stationary benchy, noticeably smoother on the side of the hull. The larger details, it was still able to print successfully. We have all the overhangs are nice, but yeah, once we start looking at the quality of the layer lines, you can see a bit of roughness there, whereas on the stationary benchy, yep, you can see more roughness on the benchy on the right, especially on that archway around the door. But, you know, all things considered, pretty impressed that we were able to print this thing relatively successfully while driving on a washboard dirt road. Now, can we find a road rough enough that the benchy will actually fail? So we're currently at Playa Agua Caliente. It's this amazing hot spring beach near La Paz in Baja California. And the road we took to get here was probably the worst road we've driven on since we started this trip. It is twisty and turny and super bumpy and probably about at least 20 minutes.
Oh, if I'm driving, at least 20 minutes.
So I think it's the perfect experiment. Honestly, I don't know if we'll find a road rougher than this. This might be like the worst road to test the 3D printer. Let's do it. Approaching our first bump here. Whoa! Crushing it. Oh boy. Stuff is officially falling out of the cabinets. Approaching our first washboard section. You got it, Eden. Keep going, keep going. Nice gradual speed. Oh boy. Our front wheel drive ProMaster struggles a bit on these sections. You got to get more speed before you go up these.
Okay.
Oh boy. Okay, reverse. Just slowly reverse. Weren't able to quite make it up that hill. Oh boy. You gotta get more speed.
I know, I tried.
So just watch your back because you're about to go off the road. Okay, Eden, oh, stop. You're kind of off the road on your back left tire. So, oh boy. All right, so good thing we bought these traction boards before coming to Baja because our front wheels are pretty much fully dug in. Did we mention this is the first time we've ever used these? Ready?
Yep.
Oh, all right, we have to back up. There's like no other way. If I cut the wheel, am I able to get back on the road?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's use gravity to our advantage.
Nice. Okay, your back wheels are on the road. Good job. All right, do you want me to film you making it up this road?
No, we're gonna deflate the tires and do this right. All right, got our tires down from 65 to 45 PSI. I'm just gonna restart the print because I feel like we have at least 20 minutes on this bumpy road. Let's get some good data. Yeah, even this Toyota Hilux is having a little bit of trouble getting up the hill. I don't know, our front wheel drive Ram ProMaster.
So having watched a number of cars do it, I do think you want to go more to the left. And I think you need a good amount of speed.
Yeah.
I'm now doing the walk of shame. I get to walk to the top of this hill and film Morley succeed. We're gonna do some positive manifestation. We will get to the top of this hill, and I'll do it on the first try. That's the way to do it.
All right, that print definitely got some shakiness there. Got up the hill.
Good job, darling.
All right, come on in. All right, at this point in the video, I need to explain something. We record audio with these wireless DJI mics. Eden and I were both wearing one of these transmitters, and hang on, I need to show you in the mirror so you can actually see. Those transmitters send audio to this receiver on the camera. That receiver goes through this cord and sends audio into the camera right there. And in the kerfuffle, when I handed the camera over to Eden, this red cord that goes into the camera must have become unplugged halfway, just like that, so only one of the transmitters was sending audio. If you're wearing headphones right now, you probably can hear only one ear is sending audio. And unfortunately, the one that cut out was the microphone attached to me. So luckily, Eden and I were sitting close enough that her mic is still picking up what I'm saying. I did add subtitles. So annoying. These things happen though. Let the story continue. Oh God, we got another hill right off the bat. All right, getting some speed. Here we go.
Ooh. Good job.
Oh, nice. All right. I wish I could be filming this with the drone at the same time, but it's a little tough to have two cameras, a 3D printer, and a terrible road going at the same time. Oh wow, this is definitely more uphill on the way out. Whoa!
And here's another one.
Coming up.
Oh, big bump. Woo!
Whoa!
Do you want to strategize this before you go?
No, I'm just gonna get some. Oh, we're charging it now.
You got it. Just keep giving it power.
I don't know.
Keep going, Morley. You got it.
Oh, we're really spinning. Oh yes, let's go!
Okay, careful here.
Wow.
Careful here.
I honestly did not think we were gonna make it.
It's a lot, puppy.
Abby just ran up to the front of the van during that last section.
Woo! Like, she's still going.
It's hilarious, like, people in little sedans will come on this road and just make it up the hill. Because the locals just have the knowledge of how to drive these roads correctly.
Man, this is a trooper. It's still going. Puppy's like, I don't like this. Penny's like, just another day on the job. Some final bumps for the end of the print.
Oh my gosh. Like, there's a little bit of inconsistency in the overhang over the door, but like, I feel like you're gonna have to look really close to see any difference with the other prints. That is wild. All right, once again, our stationary benchy versus the one we printed while driving on that second dirt road. You know, honestly, this one that we just printed might be better than the one on the first dirt road. I think even though it was really hilly, the first dirt road was a little more bumpy. So this is the first dirt road, this is the second road, and you can see, I think the hull on the first dirt road is rougher than the second. Let's see, first, second. Yeah, this one, I think it was a lot of like big drops and potholes and dramatic things, but the more consistent washboard road looks like it caused a worse print than the less frequent dramatic features. I don't know, man, like, can we find a road rough enough to actually see a dramatic difference from the benchmark benchy? At this point, we've pretty much maxed out the amount of vibration we can generate in the van. But luckily, Andre here has a boat we can use to hopefully get into some choppy waters and generate way more vibration, because I want to see a benchy fail. All right, the print is going. We'll see if it works. There's gonna be a lot of bumps. Just getting this thing started was a struggle. I'm not too optimistic, but this is the ultimate test. Oh, there we go. There's some chop. I'm like trying to hold the 3D printer somewhat steady so it doesn't get knocked over. Can you see the extruder head moving around? I wonder if the bamboo engineers ever accounted for this in their product design.
I feel like Bamboo was really excited about this video up until this point.
And since the printer is sitting on the bottom of the boat, all of those bumps from the waves are being directly transferred to it. There's nothing in between, no shocks, no suspension system. This is just rock hard water right into the print. All right, let's see how this did. Oh my gosh. I think we finally found the failure we were looking for.
That is not a boat.
That is not a boat. All right, we got the printer back in the van so we can do a little post-mortem. It looks like we just had a full-on spaghetti failure. You can see the attempted first layer here. Even though this was the dramatic failure I was craving, it was a little disappointing because it was kind of a bed adhesion failure right at the beginning of the print. I think what I wanted was something wild to happen with the Benchy midway through and to get some sort of glitch art thing, but it was so difficult to even get this print started with the vibrations of the boat plus the choppiness of the waves. It took us like 4 tries. It just kept failing the calibration while the motor was running and we were getting the up and down from the waves, but we couldn't pull it ashore without risk of dumping the printer overboard. All this to say is, I think you could successfully print on a boat as long as it was stable enough that a printer like the X1 Carbon could calibrate at the beginning. So we've established that you can in fact print in a moving vehicle with pretty amazing results, but why does this matter? Who cares about 3D printing in a moving vehicle? Well, aside from the fact that this allows me to actually be productive while driving, it also raises the possibility of bringing a 3D printer onto Arctic expeditions, on ocean voyages, into space on a space station. Being able to take one of these in a moving vehicle away from resources, away from stores, and being able to invent custom solutions. I mean, just think about Apollo 13. Rather than creating something out of duct tape and PVC, you could actually 3D model exactly what you need in an emergency and successfully print it. That is exciting. If you would like to directly support this channel, you can gain exclusive access to my private Instagram page and Discord community by supporting this channel on Patreon. I post about projects that I have coming up, things going on behind the scenes, and I would like to give a special thank you to my top supporters on Patreon, Paige Arlt and my mom, Kathy Kurt. Thanks, Mom. I love you.